Well, we're back here for another week of the Off the Post podcast. We're through week 11 of the 2025 NOSL campaign, and it's an absolute joy to be here alongside all of you. Thanks so much for tuning in to the Off the Post podcast. We've got an action-packed one here today. We'll have our results through week 11. That includes our playoff matchups in the opening round. We'll also have a preview for the championships that are coming this next weekend. Alongside all of that, we have to bring you guys our usual interviews. We've got Braden Mast of the NOSL joining us to talk about week 1 of the playoffs and the championship matchups. He'll bring some of that insider information that he has being a part of the NOSL leadership. And I can't forget about it, we're going to talk about the Golden Boot races one more time. We've got to give the flowers to those players who won their respective divisions and who also led their team to a lot of new heights this season. So we'll bring all of that your way here soon. Don't go anywhere on the Off the Post podcast. We interrupt this episode of the NOSL Off the Post podcast to remind you that the official 2025 sponsor of the NOSL is Alanovis Corp. A big thank you to Alanovis Corp in all that you do. The NOSL and Alanovis Corp, creating impact, building community, and bringing the game to life. The first week of the playoffs has finally come by, and man, what a week it was. Let's take a look at our men's first division results to begin. It was a 4-1 victory for Delaware Rising over Ashland United, a big-time performance for Delaware Rising as the number 1 seed. They actually fell to Ashland United 2-1 earlier in the season, so a big bounce-back game for them to get the win and head on to the championship. Our other men's first division result was the 2-3 seeded Ohio City SC taking on Mansfield Liederkranz in a big-time upset for Mansfield Liederkranz. 2-1 the final score. A nail-biting affair, just a 1-goal difference between the two sides, and Ohio City SC is taken down in that opening round of the playoffs. So it'll be Mansfield Liederkranz and Delaware Rising matching up in the First Division Championship. On to our men's second division. Our first-seeded Paxos FC took down Forest City 2-0. I talked to Braden Mast. He'll be on the show later today, and he mentioned that game was a good one between the two sides. Very nitty-gritty, a very close affair until the final whistle. In our men's second division 2-3 seeded matchup, it was Akron United who beat AFC Kent 3-1, and while that scoreline shows a 2-goal difference, it really was, yet again, another nitty-gritty result. Just barely Akron United able to squeak away with that one, and then the two sides faced off in the championship. We'll get more onto that coming here soon. But for now, it's into our Northwest and women's divisions. Looking at Valentis Athletica, they got a 3-0 result over FC Perrysburg via forfeit. And AC Elite, the big-time upset for the week, took down Firelands United, the 2-seed versus the 3-seeded. Either way, AC Elite truly showcase they've got what it takes to potentially hoist a trophy at the end of the season. They'll be taking on a very strong Valentis Athletica side in the championship. In our women's division, it was a big showing for Susserfuss Bulverin. They're trying to come out swinging here down the back half of the year. Lots of 8-0, 10-0 results, and they got an 8-0 result over Mansfield Liederkranz to pull off the victory. Taking a look at Ohio City SC and Delaware Rising, the 2-3 seeds, it was Ohio City SC who pulled off the 5-1 victory over Delaware Rising to punch their ticket into the championship. That's all that we've got from games this past week. We'll dive into our Golden Boot race, our results from that coming up here momentarily as a reminder, alongside our championship dates. We'll get to that towards the end of the episode. Don't go anywhere here on the Off the Post podcast. We talked about the Golden Boot race last week, but we don't want to miss out on it. These players truly showcased all they had to offer in this year's rendition of the NOSL season, and I cannot stress enough how big some of these players performed for their respective sides. Let's take a look back at the Golden Boot race one more time as the season concludes. Here's our men's first division. Nicholas Morse for Worcester FC, 15 goals. That was the second most goals scored across any division this season, and a lot of other players in single digits towards the near 10 mark, but didn't cross over. Morse, the only one to do so for the first division. In the second division, there were 3 players in double digits. Blake Baker, what a season for him for Akron United, as he was able to help clinch a promotion to the first division for Akron United. 23 goals scored, the most by far across any division this season. Omari Sanders for Forest City came with 12, and Kostas Paxos for Paxos FC with 10, with his teammate teammates just below him in the single digits, near that 10-goal mark as well. Now shifting gears, looking at our Northwest Division and our Women's Division, it's Carson Oberski for Valentis Athletica. 10 goals, the only one in double figures in the Northwest Division. Reggie Johnson just behind with 9 alongside Sam Tenwaldi of AC Elite, who's been a big-time player for them as they look to hoist a championship in the Northwest Division. Can AC Elite do it? That's the question. In the Women's Division, it's Bryn Maurer for Susserfuss Belverman. 9 goals for her, but the factor is she's out for the championship game for Susserfuss, so they'll have to look for players to step up in her spot, and Peyton Marino is the one who could potentially do it. 8 goals for her on the season. Yet again, we see Susserfuss Belvern dominating that women's division. That's all for our Golden Boot race. A reminder, you don't want to miss out on any of these players as they move on through the rest of their careers in the NOSL, the collegiate space, or beyond, so follow all of them and keep track of everything NOSL soccer. We interrupt this episode of the NOSL Off the Post podcast to remind you that the official 2025 sponsor of the NOSL is Alanovus Corp. A big thank you to Alanovus Corp in all that you do. The NOSL and Alanovus Corp, creating impact, building community, and bringing the game to life. Hello and welcome back to the Off the Post podcast. I'm your host, Cade Krakus, now joined alongside Braden Mast of the NOSL. Braden, thanks for joining me.
Okay, it's good to be on, as always. Looking forward to this kind of season wrap-up episode. I guess we're not there yet, but just a little preview of what's to come this weekend in the finals.
100%. We are at that almost wrap-up stage here, so let's talk about some of the results that we had from the first round of the playoffs. Obviously, lots of games being played. You guys definitely had it cut out for yourselves, the work side at least, that is, to keep track of everything going on. And let's talk about our men's first division to begin here, Braden. Delaware Rising, Ashland United, 4-1 victory for Delaware Rising. What were your initial thoughts on that game?
I think going into the game, Delaware was definitely the favorite, despite Ashland actually having the win during the season when the two sides met. And I watched the first half or so on the YouTube stream, and it looked to be a pretty even game, but Delaware started to pull away a little bit, and it was a home game for them. Ashland might have been a little bit on the lighter side on the bench, and Delaware just came out and took care of business. But it was a good game overall. I think Ashland can be proud of themselves for making the playoffs. And ultimately, they had a good season, and they can kind of regroup and come back next year and kind of push for that playoff spot again. But Delaware, another strong performance, and they're into the final for the second straight year.
Yeah, they've been a really good side all year long, and as you mentioned with Ashland United, they've had some pretty good results this year as well. Some tough ones where they kind of fought their way to pull off a victory, even against that Delaware Rising side earlier in the year. 2-1 was that win, but obviously falling for the one. But we got ourselves an upset as well in the first division, something that is pretty exciting to talk about, with Mansfield Liederkranz taking down Ohio City SC 2-1. It's a nail-biting performance.
Yeah. I mean, Mansfield Liederkranz is a really good team, and it's not like I'm super surprised that this happened. But Ohio City, like, this team has been dominant over the past couple of years. They fell short in the finals 2 straight years to Greater Columbus, and then finally came through at the victory last year in the final over Delaware Rising in a big win. So I think in, like, our minds, like, just in the general NOSL fans' mind, you're like, oh, Ohio City has a home game. They're the favorites in this one. And I think it's easy to discount that Liederkranz team and just kind of think, oh, they're traveling up there. They went up there last year in the semifinals and got beat pretty handily, I believe. But yeah, they came out, and that team is really good. Liederkranz has some really good players. They play well as a team. And I think they're hungry to win something. They made the final in 2021 and fell short, like, in a very close game against the Ambassadors. Last year, they were in the League Cup final, and they also lost to Ambassadors in a close game. So they're hungry to win something, and they've got some really good players. Just off the top of my head, Teddy Togliatti, Jacob Deaver, Bruno Vargas, Jared McPeak. Like, they have some studs on that team,
for sure.
And just, like, coming into this final, they have their work cut out for them against a really good Delaware side. But if they show up, they can definitely go for that hardware.
Yeah, when you look at the men's second division now, we'll talk about the championships here coming soon, but when you look at the second division, there's also some big-time performances from teams like Paxos FC and Akron United. Those two teams were the favorites, so it wasn't expected that they were going to get knocked off, but, you know, some convincing wins, 3-1 for Akron United and 2-0 over Paxos. What's your thoughts on those two teams?
Those teams are both great, and we're just lucky to have them in our organization as a whole in the NOSL. They were both great additions to the second division. and they'll both be great in the first division next year. Initially, Akron, as the runner-up, was going to have to play in the Pro-Rel playoff game to potentially gain promotion. But Stark County United, their opponent, actually withdrew from the tournament, so they will get automatic promotion instead. So Akron United and Paxos will join the first division next year. Both just really good organizations, really well run, good leadership groups, strong players. So we couldn't be more happy with having those two teams join us in the first division next year. That final was terrific. The goal that I believe it was Alec McLeod scored was a great goal, and there was just like high energy throughout the whole game. The 1-0 scoreline was great, and it was just a really fun environment to be at. And then like going back to the semifinals, even Forest City and AFC Kent both put on pretty good showings as well. Like it was a competitive game in both of those fixtures, and yeah, we're happy to have them as well. And like it was a good second division playoffs. We're looking forward to the second division next year, even being more strong than it was this year. And the first division going forward will definitely improve with the addition of these two teams.
Yeah, taking a look at that second division before we move on to the Northwest division, who are your thoughts on the potential teams that are going to thrive next season? Obviously, AFC Kent in that semifinal, Forest City in that semifinal. Do you think those two are going to be the teams that are fighting for promotion together next year?
Yeah, I think Kent and Forest City are both really strong, and I think they'll definitely grow and improve going forward into next year. They'll probably recruit some more players and just kind of get to know each other better as a team. I definitely see them being back in the mix. I think Black Clover is a strong team, having kind of just formed this year, like right before the season started. It'll be interesting to see what they do. And I think Liederkranz too is also a very strong team as well, just kind of feeding off of the success of the first team. So there's all those, and then everyone else in the second division has a chance to kind of improve and grow going into next year. And then obviously there's going to be more additions coming in 2026 that'll kind of push everyone else and hopefully just strengthen that.
Yeah, that'll be real exciting to see what teams are joining next year, and a chance for some of those teams to refine their footing and get re-promoted to the first division that had been knocked down. But as well, like we mentioned, you're going to have teams that barely missed out in AFC Kent and Forest City who are just itching to be in that first division. So moving into our Northwest division, though, we have just 4 teams in there, but 4 teams who competed back and forth all year long. Those top 3 teams, AC Elite, Valentis Athletica, Firelands United, they were all on each other's tails all season long, and we saw that in the semifinal round as well, with AC Elite taking down Firelands 5-1. Talk about a big-time showing for AC Elite.
For sure. And this one honestly surprised me a little bit, just because the two teams had met 3 times throughout the season. On opening day, AC Elite beat Firelands, but then beyond that, it was Firelands. They won both of the other matchups. So this was a home game for Firelands, a Saturday 10 a.m. morning game. And AC Elite showed up, and they just took care of business. It was, honestly, I was just shocked. Like, I was watching the game, and it was just like goal after a goal after a goal. And I was just, I want to say the game was like 4-0 at halftime, maybe. It was either 3-0 or 4-0, and I was just like, wow, like this is surprising. Because Firelands is a good team. Like they could definitely put up a fight against Valentis. But AC Elite just showed up and played. And yeah, it just kind of shows what can happen in the NOSL. The Northwest Division is very tough from top to bottom. And I think AC Elite, like obviously they deserve to be there. They beat Firelands. But talking to some guys at Valentis, they seem to think AC Elite might be a tougher game than Firelands might have been. And that comes down to a couple of the players from AC Elite that they think they might have some trouble with. There are just like some matchup things that kind of gave Valentis trouble throughout the season. But yeah, I think AC Elite, I never got to see them in person this year, but I got to watch them several times on the broadcast on like YouTube. And I was able to watch them, and they're just kind of a gritty bunch. They play hard, and they make things difficult for their opponent. But that's going to be tough going up against that really strong Valentis team that kind of just had their way with the Northwest Division, went through the season, only losing that one game to Firelands. But other than that, taking care of business. Really tough team, and I'm really excited for this final. We just found out yesterday the final will still be at 3:30 on Sunday. But instead of being at Maumee High School, we're actually going to be playing on the University of Toledo's turf stadium. So,
oh wow,
a really nice field. That was just due to some scheduling conflicts and we are going to be at University of Toledo, and we are looking forward to that final.
That'll be great. And yeah, speaking on Valencia Athletica for just a moment here, obviously they started the year 1-1-1, and then after that proceeded to win the next 6 games straight to clinch that number 1 spot in the Northwest Division. So as you said, Braden, it's going to be a great matchup between AC Elite, who's got some upsets underneath their belt, and then Valencia Athletica, who's looking to continue steamrolling their way into the back half of the year. Now, turning gears to the women's division, though, a lot of teams in the mix there that have performed well throughout the year, but it really has been the teams in Ohio City and Sassafras who have just pulled away throughout the year. You know, early in the season, there was a couple teams in the mix there, Mansfield Liederkranz included, who were looking to fight for that top spot. But, I mean, what's the big difference between Sassafras and Ohio City and the rest of the bunch in this year alone?
I think they just, mostly it's just getting results. And whether that's having more players at the game, having subs, having just commitment. I'm not saying the other teams are not committed, but just from what I'm seeing, it's Ohio City and Sassafras who are very organized and they really push to be at the top of the table. That's their aspirations. Their player pools, obviously, Cleveland for Ohio City, they're pulling players from a bigger area than say an Ashland or a Mansfield area. So they just have more players to pull from. Sassafras being in the Akron-Kent area, they kind of have a similar thing. They're also recruiting a lot of college players, which is definitely helpful. So just seeing their success, that can be kind of attributed to just having that player pool, having strong players being committed and organized. And I think that's definitely kind of the model of what we want for NOSL teams to just continue to grow, organize themselves, and just be committed and have goals to have their team go after and try to achieve.
For sure. All right, well, now let's take a look at our championship matchups that we have this coming weekend and specifically highlight those. So in the first division, it's Mansfield Liederkranz and Delaware Rising. 2 teams that really performed well to get to this point in the year. Mansfield Liederkranz, number 3 seed. Delaware Rising, the number 1 seed. I don't know, is it going to be Delaware Rising or is it going to be Mansfield Liederkranz? What's your thoughts on what we're going to see?
Both of these teams have made the finals before, but neither of them has won. So back in 21, as I mentioned, Liederkranz fell short in a 2-1 game, and last year Delaware fell short 6-0 to Ohio City. So coming into this year, both of these teams want to win the league, and one of these teams will win the league. So it'll just be a dogfight out there. I think this could be one of the best finals yet. It's 2 really scrappy teams that play well together, and they're going to be really just really competitive throughout the whole game, and it's going to be a fun watch. Also, games on Saturday will be streamed on OH Report. So the women's final begins at 4 p.m., men's final at 7:30. So feel free to tune in and watch these games from home if you are not able to make the game. But yeah, back to the final. I don't know about a prediction. I don't really want to come out and say
for sure
a prediction because honestly, I don't have one. I'm looking forward to a good competitive game. I think both of these teams could win. Both teams are usually pretty deep, and they are both stocked full of talent. So Delaware and Liederkranz should be a great game. I have no idea what to think. I'm just looking forward to watching the game, and I'm curious to see just talking to both teams this week, talking to players and just other people throughout the league. I have heard a lot of predictions, and they're kind of all over the place. People are like, oh, I think so-and-so is going to win. I think the other team's going to win. And it's just kind of a wide range of opinions. But yeah, it should be a great weekend, a great game in the men's final. And I'm just looking forward to a good day of soccer.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be great, really exciting. And as you said, there's definitely a lot of different ways to tune in. You can either go there in person or check out OH Report for the full coverage. But we also talked about the men's second division. That result's already final. We have Paxos going up alongside Akron United. But let's take a look at the men's Northwest division. That final, we already mentioned it slightly, but Valencia Athletica and AC Elite, I mean, that one really could go any direction, especially with AC Elite riding high off that victory. And Valencia Athletica actually got there via forfeit from FC Perrysburg. So they're having a little bit of a spell where they haven't played in a bit. So this is a really good chance for AC Elite to come out swinging.
Yeah, I think AC Elite riding off of that win against Firelands, you definitely are carrying momentum into the final. And with Valencia not playing a semifinal to get there, they've been off for a little bit. I know they've been training. They're ready for the final. So they just have to be ready not to get caught off guard by AC Elite, who's definitely going to be gunning for them. Valentis, though, is, as we mentioned, a really strong team. I would say Valentis is the favorite in the final just because of just their history this season of kind of dominance throughout the year. But again, the saying goes, like, when you get to the playoffs, you can throw everything else out. Anything can happen. And AC Elite is a formidable team to come up against. And yeah, anything could happen.
For sure. And last but not least here, Braden, you take a look at the women's division. It's one we're real excited for. Ohio City SC, Sassafras Belvern. The last time they met was almost 2 weeks ago, and it was a 2-1 result for Sassafras. So there's a chance for this to go either direction, and especially with them playing recently, the tensions are certainly going to be high.
For sure. And just being a rematch of last year's final, I think it's going to be a great game. Last year went to PKs, obviously, so that was a thrilling game to watch, and I think we can kind of expect a similar game. I believe Bryn Maurer from Sassafras is out, and she is the division's lead goal scorer with 9 goals, so that could maybe play a part in the result of this game. But yeah, Ohio City is a great team. Obviously, having fallen short the last 2 years, I think they are going to be desperate to get a win, and they're going to be pushing everything out there to try to get the trophy. Sassafras, very high quality team, plays well together. They're an efficient team, and I think they're also primed to go back to back. So yeah, again, this could go either way. I'm looking forward to this one, and just having it be a rematch of last year's final just kind of adds that much fun to it. The two teams know each other well. They are going to have that kind of like fiery competitiveness on the field, especially after that 2-1 victory just a couple weeks ago by Sassafras. Yeah, I think Sassafras has a target on their backs for sure. Ohio City does not like losing.
For sure.
If I remember right, I think this is the first year Ohio City lost a regular season game.
Wow.
And they only lost 2 this year, but they were both to Sassafras. So they're going to be really pushing to try to do something against them on Sunday or on Saturday, and hopefully get that trophy.
Yeah, so Braden, final question for you. People want to tune in. Again, where exactly can they tune in to catch all the action?
Yeah, so in person, the games are going to be 4 p.m. The women's will play at 4 p.m., and the men's final will be at 7:30 p.m. The games are played at Copley High School, which we will have all those details on our website with like the address and such. And then for all the streaming, we will post those links on the website as well as social media. But streaming will be on, it's done by OH Report, so it'll be on their OH Report YouTube channel, but also on the Berry Hill YouTube channel. So you can tune in on either one and catch the finals. And then we will have live coverage, live tweeting, just live updates throughout the game on Saturday. And then on Sunday, we are not streaming the game in the Northwest Division, but if you do want to tune in for that, you will have to come in person to University of Toledo. That game's at 3:30 p.m. And we will also be providing live updates on X and Instagram.
Perfect. Well, Braden, thanks so much for joining me here today. It's going to be an exciting week of NOSL action.
Absolutely, Cade. We're looking forward to it.
And last but not least, let's take a look at our championship bouts that we have this coming weekend. Well, let's get the odd one out of the way here. Paxos FC actually took down Akron United 1-0 to be crowned champions of the second division. That game was played this past Friday, the 19th. A bit of a move up there as Akron United was able to secure a berth into the men's first division via a victory via forfeit against Stark County United. And Paxos FC, with that win over Akron United, won 1-0. They automatically secured a bid to the first division, but both teams were able to move up into that first division and compete in a higher level next season. In our men's first division, it'll be Mansfield Liederkranz and Delaware Rising taking on one another on Saturday, July 26th. You heard Braden Mast really excited for that bout, alongside the other one that will take place on Saturday, July 26th. It'll be Sassafras versus Ohio City SC, a rematch from last year. A reminder, they went into a shootout at the end of the game. It was a penalty kick shootout. We'll see if that'll be another case for the matchup this year or if it'll go a different way. And then last but not least, it'll be on Sunday, July 27th, our men's Northwest Division, Valentis Athletica, the 1 seed, versus the 3-seeded AC Elite, a big-time matchup that will not be streamed. You'll have to catch it in person at the University of Toledo. It's going to be an exciting affair between those two sides. AC Elite going for the upset and the run in the playoff bracket. But that's all that we've got for this week's episode of Off the Post. Stay tuned. I'll close you out here in just a few moments on the Off the Post podcast. Thanks so much, everybody, for tuning into the Off the Post podcast. I'm your host, Cade Crackus, saying so long as we wrap up yet another week of the NOSL season. A reminder that next week will be our last episode of 2025, so make sure to tune into this one. Tune into the games this weekend and check back in for a full season recap coming your way next week. Thanks so much. I'll catch you guys next time right here on Off the Post.